chimps the same? Or do we share a 99% similarity in our DNA, showing that we are actually related or we come from chimps? Well, check it out today on Whole True Apologetics. Daniel Storm here. Welcome back to Whole True Apologetics, where we seek answers to tough questions. It's commonly claimed that humans and chimps share about 98 to 99% similar DNA. And because we share 98 to 99% similar DNA, this is evidence that we have evolved from apes, that we have evolved from chimpanzees. Well, today we're going to be looking at, first off, is this number, this 98 to 99% number, is this conclusive, is this accurate? And then we're going to be looking at, what does that even mean? What does that even mean? So we got to first look at, how did they even get this number? In 1975, this first came about in 1975, where you got Mary Claire King and Alan Wilson doing some research, and they compared 44 known proteins in both humans and chimps, and they concluded that we were about 99% similar. It's important to note before we continue that they only compared the protein coding zone, which actually only makes about 1.2% of the DNA. All right, that to the side, let's take what they say at face value. Let's just take what they say at face value, that we're 98 or 99% similar. Now, more research was done in the 80s, and they concluded, oh, look, we're about 95 or so percent to 99% similar to chimpanzees, and this is evidence that we've evolved from them. Well, is this number accurate, and how do they even get this number? The more people began to research or actually look at the research that was done, they conclude this number was actually skewed, and this number is not conclusive or accurate. John Cohen, who did a review of this, which was a great review, he concluded that the 1% they try to claim, this only 1% difference they try to claim, is not true, and actually the difference is far greater. Far greater. You might ask, well, how can they say that? How can they say that? Well, again, they began to see, how was the research done? How was the research done? And they saw this, two other people that looked into research that was done. They concluded, they saw this, actually the biological sequence data often went through a pre-screening, all right? A pre-screening, filtering, selecting before being summarized and discussed. What does that even mean? So they would, in other words, they would pre-screen, they look at what they want, all right? And then they select what they want, and then they compare what they want. What happens when you do that? Well, obviously you're gonna get a lot higher number. You're gonna get a lot higher number. These researchers went on to say that they only used human and chimp DNA sequences fragments that already exhibit a high level of similarities, and sections that did not line up were tossed out of the mix. You're like, say what? They cut and paste. They're like, this looks good, let's compare this. Those don't, let's toss those out. So when you do that, that's a very dishonest number, and you're gonna get a lot higher similarity. All right? So we see this number of 99% is actually skewed and not very honest. Another major issue with this, actually Jonathan Marks, as he continued looking at this, and he wrote a book called What Does It Mean to Be 98% Chimpanzee? He said how they got this number is very interesting. Basically, is going on because chimpanzees have a 10% longer DNA than we do. So if they have a 10% longer DNA, how are you concluding that we are 99% similar? And then additionally goes on to show that humans and daffodils share about 30% DNA. And he says no one's going to conclude that human and daffodils have a common ancestor. He's showing this high number similarity, first off, is skewed, and secondly, doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't really mean anything. But you might be asking, but why is there similarities? Even if it's 80% between us and chimps, or 99%, why are there similarities at all? Well, Ann Gager and other researchers actually show that the similarities doesn't point towards a common ancestor, but points towards a common function. A common function that both humans and chimps have. We have similar things we got to do to function and live. And so the similarities points to a common function something was designed for, rather than a common ancestor someone came from. Now, forgetting everything I just said, all right? forgetting everything I said, even though this 99% is a very skewed, not conclusive number, let's just forget all that and just for a second, just say, okay, just assume that the 99% is 100% accurate. Let's just assume that's true. What does that 1 to 2%-ish, what does that difference mean? What does that small difference mean? Well, that small difference is not a small difference. That small difference is what makes the brain function different. That small difference is what makes language development different. That 1 to 2% is big and not small. Let me just give you kind of a picture here. Don Batter, who did more research in this, he said the human genome has about 3 billion letters. And if that 1% is accurate, just a 1% difference is accurate, that would mean there's 30 million letter differences. That's a big difference. That's not a small difference at all. All right? So the similarities, it's not evidence in any way that it doesn't point towards a common ancestor. All right? It doesn't point towards a common ancestor, but the common function that we have, a common function that we have. And additionally, there's the difference, the 1 to 2% difference, if it even is just only 1 to 2%, is not a small thing. That's a ginormous thing. Let me point out a couple vital differences between humans and chimps that's often just skipped over in this kind of conversation. For example, where the spine connects to the skull is very different in humans and chimps. The shape of the spine is different. The shape of the ribs are different. The shape of the pelvis is different. The shape of the hands are different. The feet are different. The layout of the muscles are different. The brain size and function is different. Now these are all really important differences. And for any one of these to change, this is not a minor change, but a major change. And even within evolutionary timescale, is shown even within evolutionary timescale, it's very hard to get any one of these to change. In fact, some have concluded that you can't get any one of these to change even within the timescale. You don't have enough time. So what do we see? What do we conclude here? This 99% claim is not an accurate claim at all. It's a skewed number, first off. And secondly, even if we were 90 to 99%, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't really mean much at all. And the similarities point to a common function that something was designed for rather than a common ancestor. So as you're looking at this, and I look at this, it points to a common designer, not a common ancestor. Well, hope you guys have a good week. I'll see you next time.